How's it going, everybody? Johnny Talk Sports here, bringing you my Week 1 NFL predictions. The season starts next week. So let's get started with the Thursday night game, the first game of the year, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the New England Patriots. Now this is going to be a challenge for the Chiefs. Despite the Patriots not having Julian Edelman or Cyrus Jones this season, it's just going to be next man up for both those positions. So I'm going to pick the Patriots to win by at least 14 points. Next, we have the New York Jets versus the Buffalo Bills. And honestly, it seems like both these teams are going to be tanking for next year. But I'm going to pick the Buffalo Bills. I think the running game is going to be a huge difference in the game. Considering that the Jets traded Sheldon Richardson to the Seattle Seahawks in exchange for Jermaine Kearse. I just feel like that's going to be evident that the Bills' running game will be a huge difference. Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Houston Texans. Now I'm going to pick the Texans in this game. The Jaguars continue to have a bright future, but they disappoint us as each season passes by. And this year should be no different. I'm going to pick the Texans to win this matchup. Should be an easy victory. I'm going to say it's going to be 30-14. Because the Texans will be playing with a chip on their shoulder in a way. They're going to be playing with extra motivation. With the events with Hurricane Harvey this week, I think it's going to be a motivational win. Kind of a win for the Gipper mentality for the fans. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Cleveland Browns. Now it seems that the Browns will be starting DeShone Kizer, the rookie out of Notre Dame. But I think, because even if he's brought in the same skills that he's shown in the preseason to this game, I don't think it's going to be enough. I just feel like there's too many offensive weapons on the Steelers to overcome. So I'm going to pick the Steelers. This is my lock pick of the week. Arizona Cardinals versus the Detroit Lions. I'm going to pick the Cardinals in this game. I think this could be a defensive battle. I think the Cardinals, having David Johnson is going to be a huge difference in the game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins are starting Jay Cutler quarterback with Ryan Tannehill having a season-ending injury. But I think Tampa Bay is going to win this game. I just feel like the offense of Tampa Bay led by Jameis Winston and his weaponry of wide receivers, Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson, O.J. Howard. I just feel like it's going to be too much for the Dolphins' defense. The Atlanta Falcons and Chicago Bears. Now the Falcons are going to come out with extra motivation with a chip on their shoulder after what happened in the Super Bowl in February. I think the Falcons will pick up right where they left off. I think they're going to dominate this game. I don't think the Bears are going to have a chance to win this game. I'm going to say the Falcons win 42-10. Oakland Raiders versus the Tennessee Titans. Now this is probably the third best game of the week, behind the Seahawks and the Packers, and behind the Giants-Cowboys. But I'm going to pick the Oakland Raiders in this game because I just feel like Derek Carr will be playing with a chip on his shoulder for the Raiders this season as well. Because he was in the MVP race until he suffered a season-ending injury in Week 16. So I think Derek Carr is going to pick up right where he left off. In fact, I'm going to say that the Raiders' defense will be the ultimate difference in the game. I feel like that defense is going to lock down Marcus Mariota. I'm going to pick the Raiders to win 27-24. I think it's going to be a really close game from start to finish. Baltimore Ravens are the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, honestly, the Baltimore Ravens have too many injuries on the team. A lot of players with seasoning injuries, so I've got to pick the Cincinnati Bengals here. Next, we have the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Washington Redskins. Now, I'm going to pick the Philadelphia Eagles in this one because I just feel like Carson Wentz can have a lot to prove in his sophomore season. Coming off a rookie season, which he did pretty decent. But he didn't have the best second half of the year. And I feel like Carson Wentz is going to start off his season. I think he's going to start the season off with a bang, considering he's added Torrey Smith and Alshon Jeffrey. Well, the Eagles have added Torrey Smith and Alshon Jeffrey from free agency. I feel like he's going to look for Alshon Jeffrey a lot in this matchup. Considering the Redskins don't have a good secondary besides Josh Norman, but that's going to be the ultimate matchup, is Alshon Jeffrey and Josh Norman. I think the Eagles will win this game. Indianapolis Colts versus Los Angeles Rams. Now it's uncertain if Andrew Luck is going to be ready to go in this matchup. But I think if he is going to play in this matchup, then the Colts will win the game. But if he's not, I feel like the Rams might be able to steal this victory. Because despite the Rams not having a good year last year, they did start the season off 3-1, including upsets over the Arizona Cardinals and Seattle Seahawks. So it's going to depend on whether or not Andrew Luck can play. I'll say this. If Andrew Luck plays, the Colts are going to win. But if he's not going to be able to play, then the Rams are going to steal this game from the Colts. In fact, that's going to be the upset of the week. The Rams or the Colts if Andrew Luck can't play. Because I'm sure the Colts will still be a favorite even if Andrew Luck is out. Because the Rams they still look like a weak team in my opinion, because Jared Goff isn't the best quarterback right now at least. It's looking like a bust. But Jared Goff has a lot to prove himself considering they've added Cooper Kupp in the draft and Sammy Watkins in a trade earlier this month. So that game is really undecided for me. Like, it's going to depend. Carolina Panthers versus San Francisco 49ers. This should also be another lock of the week. Despite the 49ers having Kyle Shanahan as the new head coach, I just feel like it's already going to be a tough challenge to stop Cam Newton. Because I think Cam Newton's got a lot to play for as well. Considering he didn't make the playoffs after an MVP-type season, I think the Panthers start off with a bang. I'm going to pick the Panthers to win 42-17. Now this is probably, in my opinion, the game of the week. The Seattle Seahawks versus the Green Bay Packers. Now the Seattle Seahawks added more depth to their defense and a more dominant and more intimidating front seven by trading for Sheldon Richardson from the New York Jets. But I still can't bet against Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau Field. I feel like that Seattle defense will have to get to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they've done it before. That Monday Night Football game a couple years ago that had the controversial ending. They need a game kind of like that. They need to keep it low scoring, keep the Packers offense off the field. They've added Eddie Lacy in the offseason to kind of ground and pound that defense. But I still think Green Bay is going to win this game. I think it's going to be a really high-scoring affair. I'm going to say we're going to have 35-31. I think that game will get decided within the last 4 minutes of the game. New York Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys. Now, there is a little bit of a rumor going on that Zeke Elliott might be able to play in this game if there's no decision on this appeal by, I believe it's 4 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. But honestly, even if he is eligible to play, I still think the Giants are going to win this game because as we saw last year, the New York Giants had the Cowboys number, giving the Cowboys 2 of their 4 losses from last season. And I think it's going to happen again. I just feel like the Giants I feel like we're kind of sleeping on the Giants right now. Maybe the Giants might they may not make the playoffs, but I think they're going to beat the Cowboys at least once this year. I think this is going to be it. Now on to the 2 Monday Night Football games. The New Orleans Saints versus the Minnesota Vikings. Now it was announced today that Willie Snead is suspended for the first 3 games of the year. That takes out Drew Brees' number 2 target. So Michael Thomas is going to have a big performance in this game if the Saints want to win this game. If the Vikings can stretch the field and force the Saints to play defense, I think the Vikings are going to have this locked up. Because the Saints do not have a really consistent passing defense. In fact, the Saints don't have the best defense at all, whether it's running or pass defense. I'm going to say the Vikings win this game. I'm going to say the Vikings' offense is what wins it for them. They take advantage of the Saints having a weak defense. And the final game of the week, the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Denver Broncos. Now, the Broncos are they're kind of losing some pieces on that Super Bowl defense. I mean, TJ Ward has been up for trade this week. He could get cut by tomorrow, which would be Saturday the 2nd. So I'm taping this on Friday, September 1st. But I think it's not going to make a difference. I think Denver's defense will be just fine. Although I think if the Chargers won this game, I wouldn't be really surprised. Because the Broncos don't have the best offense. I mean, last year was kind of evident that the Broncos don't have a consistent, dependable quarterback. Looks like they're going to be starting Trevor Siemian, and Paxton Lynch is going to be out for the first part of the season. And they drafted Chad Kelly in the 7th round of the NFL draft this past April. But I think the Broncos are going to win a really close one. I'm thinking it's going to be 24-17. I think the Denver defense gets a pick 6 in this game. That is the difference. I feel like we're going to get vibes out of the Denver Broncos defense that led them to the Super Bowl, where they get lucky on some defensive plays in close games. The defense comes through in the clutch. I'm picking the Broncos in that one. So those are my NFL picks. Comment your picks down below. Like and subscribe to the channel. Also share this video with your friends and family. I will see you next time. Have a great day, everybody.